Mayor Bill de Blasio is in hot water. He ditched his duties in New York City and traveled down to the southern border on a whim, hoping to exploit the immigration crisis. The liberal anti-Trump mayor was hoping to score points as he looked for photo ops, but instead, he's freaking out as Border Patrol agents caught him red-handed breaking the law in a big way. Don't miss this. Oh, the irony. Mayor de Blasio seems to not have enough work to do in New York City, so he decided to make a spectacle of himself at the southern border. Charging down there like a madman on a mission, the Democratic mayor was so out of control that he broke the law. On June 21, Bill de Blasio crossed into Mexico illegally, then crossed back into the United States illegally. We can't make this stuff up, folks. This is what happens when the crazed anti-Trump crowd goes to any lengths to pander to the press. New York Daily News reports, New York City Mayor de Blasio and his security detail violated both Mexican and U.S. immigration laws by crossing the border on foot during a visit near El Paso, Texas. U.S. Customs and Border Protection alleges in a letter obtained by the Associated Press. The report adds, the mayor's office flatly denied the allegation. Well, of course, they are flatly denying it. But common sense tells you this idiot, Mayor de Blasio, all gung-ho to champion the poor illegal kids being torn away from their parents, surely trod across the border in his fervor to stop a big bad President Donald Trump. Fox News reports, Border Patrol agents were reportedly unable to stop a brazen illegal crossing into the United States last month, by the mayor of New York City. The letter stated de Blasio, who was visiting the Texas border on June 21, illegally crossed the border near El Paso. Fox News continues, the mayor and his security detail were spotted taking photos by a Border Patrol agent on the Rio Grande River floodplain south of the Tornillo, Texas, port of entry. The agent then asked them if they received authorization from a Border Patrol or public affairs officer to be in the area. A New York Police Department inspector said no. According to the letter, when asked how they entered the vicinity, the group pointed toward Mexico. The group disregarded the agent's order to remain at the scene because they had crossed the border illegally, and instead drove back to Mexico. The letter stated, the agent was getting a supervisor to take the group to an official crossing for an inspection per federal law. De Blasio's spokesman, Eric Phillips, said in a statement, the mayor crossed the border with the direct approval and under the supervision of the Border Patrol supervisor at this port of entry. Any suggestion otherwise is a flat-out lie and an obvious attempt by someone to attack the mayor because of his advocacy for families being ripped apart at the border by the Trump administration. Oh please. There is no doubt de Blasio and his cronies were caught red-handed. If Mayor de Blasio crossed the border with the direct approval and under the supervision of the Border Patrol supervisor, he would not have been spotted driving aimlessly in the desert around that detention facility, near the El Paso Mexican border. Here's what happened. Hoping to catch some photo ops, de Blasio and his cohorts forgot they were skirting the border, because there are no fences. Tornillo, Texas backs right up against the Mexican border and the Rio Grande River serves as the natural border, but not in all places. Running around half-cocked, so desperate to score political points against Trump, de Blasio broke the law and then when caught, he ran away. The Border Patrol agent writes, the group disregarded the agent's order to remain at the scene because they had crossed the border illegally, and instead drove back to Mexico. So why doesn't the good mayor tell us where he entered Mexico legally? He can't because he crossed into Mexico without even realizing it. That's how scatterbrained the mayor of New York City is. Then, he just crosses back into the United States, thinking the law doesn't apply to him. Of course, because laws are only for little people, not left-wing elitists like Bill de Blasio. Barracuda Brigade, at BB4SP, July 11, 2018. Leftist losers are cheering him for breaking the law. We shouldn't be surprised. They don't even buy his lies that he had prior approval. There is no such thing as prior approval when you cross the border. You go through the process like all human beings. Once again, the Trump haters make fools of themselves. Here's hoping the Border Patrol continues to put the screws to Bill de Blasio, make him admit he lied and answer for refusing to follow the Border Patrol's instructions, because no one is above the law, not even the loudmouth mayor of New York City.